Hey friends, I've been building alt brick sets for about a year. And in that time, I have built dozens of brands, and I've also released hundreds of videos, unboxings, as well as full-on reviews of those models. And I thought it was time to do a ranking of those models and of these brands. And I want to rank them based on how much quality I think I've experienced from them. So just to kind of set the framework for where I get these brands, most of these toys that I've received, these brick sets I've received, they come from Amazon. And I'm going by the branding on the boxes. So on Amazon, a lot of times they're not sold under that name. It's sold by, alphabet soup style brand companies that kind of come and go. But if they took the time to print the name of the brand on the box, that's what I'm going with. Here's some of what I am ranking them against. All right. So these are some of the brands that we'll look at. The higher they are on this board, the more I would recommend them. All right. I'm just unscientifically thinking it through based on model design, brick quality, the amount of innovation, how are the instructions, engineering, how sturdy is the final model, how consistent are their set, what's their customer support like, is it impossible to reach them, can you easily reach them, and what's just the overall build experience. Do you have a good time when you're building with them, right? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put names on here, and the higher the name is, I would say that there's a high confidence level and I would recommend them to somebody. Especially in my mind, I think, okay, if somebody's coming to my channel and they've never seen or never built an alt brick set before, they love Lego, and Lego maybe is getting a little expensive for them, or they've seen another set that they're like, wow, I would like to buy that set, but I don't know if it's any good. Am I going to be throwing my money away? So if I put a name up here, I would say I could recommend them. I have confidence that you do okay. Right here in this area, I'm just going to call that average. So you'll you'll probably be fine. It'll probably be a good value for the amount that you pay. There may be a few misses in there, like across their products. Maybe there'll be quirks that you'll have to deal with. And then below that, I would say avoid them, because they're going to have some unpleasant surprises happen to you. They're going to be inconsistent, might have bad quality bricks. They might actually have IP or mock theft issues. And so those are things that I would just say steer clear. Now, if you're somebody who has never built bricks before, we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about how to approach this once we start putting these up there. I will try to put up pictures of some of the sets that I've reviewed, either that or I'll do links to them. But Tycoal, let's start with Tycoal. Tycoal, not that great. In my experience, they're missing pieces. They're a little bit nonsensical for the model design. Things, the doors that go nowhere, that kind of thing, and the interiors don't really make sense. They're not really play scale. Another one I would put kind of down there is Buildify. I did a set where it was the This Is Fine, and the brick quality was terrible, and the engineering was terrible. It was impossible to get it all together, and once it was together, it just wouldn't hold. ENJ Brick, I did a build from them for Gusteau's restaurant, and it had so many loose pieces, not a great experience. So I put them down here. The model design was okay. Um, One that I'll put up next is Nefiles. So, or Nifiles, depending on how you say it. I'm going to put them a little bit higher because they come with little build trays. The graphic design is really good. They give you like a bookmark. They give you all these different things, and the models are typically really good. However, they don't license everything. Sometimes they do weird things to skirt around licenses, so that's something to keep in mind on them. Next up is Insoon. So I've reviewed a lot from Insoon. I know they're not technically a brand, but that is the name on the box. So I'm going to put them kind of right here. The brick quality is kind of so-so, but their designs are typically original, and their designs typically have some creativity to them. They're not bad. Another one that I'm going to put on here is J-Star. So I've been building and getting a bunch of J-Star recently, and I'm gonna put it a little bit higher because they have a good build experience. The bricks are fairly good quality, and the designs are original as far as have seen. They are not only original, but they are creative. One of them that I'm working on right now is called the Inverted Bookstore. So it's an upside down modular of a bookstore. I mean, it's pretty neat. Okay, another is Mock Sage. I think they also go by Less DIY. They've done a lot of birds that I've reviewed. The birds by oh, I'm forgetting his name right now, but they do a lot of these birds, and those birds are just amazing. And they do partner with mock creators to make sure what they're doing is on the up and up. And the mock creators are really good, so they've got a good eye for picking uh, good people. Raystar, they make RC cars. That's where they kind of started. And so when they went over and started doing brick built cars, they're pretty good quality. So I'm going to put them up here. I do like their builds quite a bit. There is another company. I did these like White Castle type, like folding magic castle that looks a lot like MC Escher. They were branded IE Musidin, and I think there's like 4 of those now. And I had a pretty good experience with them. I'm just going to put them here. The quality, the bricks, the design, they're all pretty good. And it really did feel like somebody was trying to do something unique and good. Power Blocks, or maybe they're Power Block. These guys do 124, 132 scale cars that are like JDM, Japanese, and other like car enthusiast cars that come in those shipping containers that you might have seen. My buddy Alex at Signor Briccacino, he's got a monthly subscription where they send him one every month, and it's usually a surprise. Now, I love those Power Block cars, and they've started to do official licenses with Toyota, and I want to say there's at least in 1 or 2 other companies, but there's some that are also not licensed, you know. But I love the shipping containers that they have. I love what they've been doing. Another company that I'm going to put on there is I Am Brick. These guys have fantastic build experience. They have reusable boxes and really colorful branding and a lot of original ideas. And the thing about them, though, is they're a little spread thin. So they have like one steampunk thing, and then one cyber thing, and a couple of castle things, and one weird squirrel with the flowers, and then a couple of like rally cars. And so they're a little bit. It doesn't go very deep, but they have kind of a spread of stuff, and I believe they use BlueBrixx too. So I do like them. I'm going to put them a little bit higher on here too. And then there is Duant. So I've reviewed a couple things by Duant. I don't know why Duant exists. Like I have a bunch of Duant where the boxes are just these plain boxes, and I feel like maybe Duant is buying other people's models that they don't know what to do with. And so because of that, I'm a little suspicious about them, and so I'm going to put them a little bit lower. You might get a good model from them. You might get not a great model, so it's kind of hard to tell. Sembo, I have built one F1 racer by Sembo, and it was a good experience. The model was well done. The brick quality was pretty good. However, I think they don't have that much creativity when it comes to the cars and the things that I've seen from them. The cars are extremely generic, and they don't actually look all that great. So that's kind of where I'm putting them for now. MJI, I've done a couple models from them that are like the mechanical duck. They are terrific at mechanical Technic style, and the Technic style bricks that they have are pretty good. And with that duck that I did, it was like one crank was controlling so many things on that duck. The duck's head moved, wings flapped, the jaw moved. I mean, it just did so many things. So I really thought MJI was doing a good job there. Another one is Keep My Specialty. So this one, I feel like they are just buying other brands that they're just putting their name on. So I'm going to put them in the same kind of category as Duant. I do not really trust them that much. So yeah, I'm going to keep them kind of on the lower side here. Panlos, I have a couple of brick sets from them that are guns, and those guns were really well made, and they're good packaging, good instructions. The brick quality is really good. Everything would together as expected. The engineering is typically really good too. However, their stuff is not licensed. So I'm going to put them here. By the way, Raystar stuff is licensed. So I'm going to put them a little bit higher up here as well. Okay. Another is IMEX. They're an interesting company. I think they are right here in the US, but they source their bricks from a company called Oxford, which is like a 60-year-old model making company out of Korea. And whenever I received their models, they're in like military sets. I did a White House. They were solid. They were really good. The brick quality is really good. The engineering is really good. And then the models are very strong. So there's I really enjoyed IMEX. Anytime I get an IMEX, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Another one is BlueBrixx. So BlueBrixx, they are sort of like, man, I feel like they're kind of the Microsoft in here. Like they're a heavy player and they have a huge catalog. Like every time I turn around, there's some new thing that BlueBrixx has. Everything from cars to ships to weapons to military to on and on and on and on. BlueBrixx is making them. Yeah, even like Japanese modulars, things like that. So I have yet to have a bad experience with them. All right, Mold King. Mold King, man, these guys, they started off by stealing IP, right? They stole a lot of Star Wars stuff, and they're still stealing Star Wars stuff. Um, I do like some of the engineering for their creator style icon size cars. Like I did a Countach that was pretty good, and they're not bad, but they're still making stuff that are just stinkers. My buddy at Lego Therapy did a Darth Vader lightsaber. That was awful. It was so bad that he didn't even finish building it. He only built the hilt, and the rest of it he just let go because it was just so bad. So I'm going to definitely put them down there. I think Mold King and Tycol are probably at the bottom for me. Tokmak, I've built a handful of their sets too, and they also have they steal IP. So they're and they'll do things like include minifigures when they really shouldn't be, and it's like surprise when you open it up. You go, oh, there's minifigures in here, but they're definitely getting around IP. I have a review coming for Back to the Future. They have a Back to the Future set. It's I want to call it the Hill Valley Courthouse. Massini, almost everything I have from Massini is military, and the military ones are licensed, or at least they went ahead and just used the actual names of the helicopters, the airplanes, everything that they've got going. So, and I've had a really good experience with the helicopters and things like that I've done from Massini. I do have an F-14 that I have yet to review. I'm holding off because I did not have a good experience just looking at that F-14. It's just there's problems with it. So I'm going to put them just a little bit lower there until I understand them a little bit better. Jackie. Okay, so Jackie, they have a couple things that are licensed, like from the Saw movie franchise, but they have also a couple things that are skirting it, like they have a Rick and Morty one that's not really licensed. Um, but I think their ideas and their model designs are not bad actually. But on the one of the Saw products that I worked on, man, the bags were a mess. They were a hot mess, and it was missing a part. Just to get through bag one, I had to open almost all the bags, like all the bags in the box. I mean, it was pretty bad. Mento Joy. Mento Joy, they do some animal stuff. They do the flower vomit where they have an animal and then for no reason there's flowers all over that animal. And so Mento Joy. I also did a Santa Claus with Mento Joy, and it was missing pieces. I did not have a good time with Mento Joy. I've never had a good time with Mento Joy actually. Area X, they do a lot of officially licensed like Sanrio. They do Farmer Bob, a lot of these like Asian collectibles. And so they have pretty strong branding, pretty consistent modular cubes that they make. They also have the SpongeBob license as well. So Area X, pretty good. I've enjoyed building Area X. I'm going to move these guys around a little bit. I have enjoyed building them whenever I get a chance to. All right, there's another here called Kata. They have a lot of cars. They also have like Japanese street scenes. They have a license with Shell Petroleum, a lot of different things. And they get named a lot when you're talking about 1/8 scale Technic style builds. They are extremely detailed, very technical. And they're also sought after. So if you're somebody who's built the entire catalog of the Legos 1/8 Technic cars, and you're looking for a new challenge, go to Kata. They have things like pneumatics in them. They've got remote controls. So I've reviewed like a U9. I'm working on an AMG GT3. I've unboxed a bunch of different things. So Kata is one to watch. I do think they're really interesting. Silbird, a while back, I did review and unbox a owl that Silbird made, and that was the only thing I had from them. Now, they're engineering, again, lots of flowers on a owl, and those flowers barely held on. And if you looked at it wrong, the flowers would fall off. And so I didn't enjoy it for that reason, but the design was unique and it was pretty creative. So I'm going to just put them right there. JM Bricklayer, they have innovation when it comes to the lighting. The first time I saw a USB plug that had a built-in battery was a JM Bricklayer set. And they not only had that, but it had a light sensor. So it had one level of lights when it was kind of dim, and then if it was totally dark, it had different level of lights. And it was because it had an onboard battery, you didn't have to plug it into anything. It just lit up. So I did a Phoenix from them, a Mantis Shrimp. Now, the only thing about JM Bricklayer is they've got good engineering, good innovation, but the model designs to me are not that interesting. Like, when my wife saw the Mantis Shrimp, she looked at it, it looks like a platter of color. And it also comes in a platter, like the base of it is just this big blue platter. And so you go from making a like fearsome marine creature look like a culinary dish. It's almost like they didn't think about it. So it was very strange. And I also did a vintage car from them that was better. But again, it's a vintage car. I don't know how many people are interested in the subject matter. And so that's the thing about JM Bricklayer. I just don't know who their models are for. There's somebody out there, but extremely niche. So if you see one of the models, you like that model, great, awesome. But I think it's a company that has a way to go before they climb that ladder, because they're not making models that have mass appeal. They have a very niche appeal. Taubu Bamu. I built a jellyfish, this like mechanical jellyfish by them that I really loved. It was smooth despite having a bunch of stuff that was moving. It had this kind of almost like a lab experiment gone wrong, cyborg animal mechanical thing going. And they had printed parts. It came with all of the motors and lights that you needed. It worked pretty well. I really enjoyed it. I liked building that. So I think they, to me, are very similar to MJI. In my mind, I kind of get them confused. So I'm going to put them together here. All right. And that brings me to Hogo Kids and Cubimania. Cubimana. So to me, I put both brands on the same one because to me they're like the same. Like their boxes, their designs, their models, they look like they could have been done by the same group. And I almost put them together with Insoon, except that Insoon I've done a lot of reviews for. But to me, these guys are pretty much the same as Insoon, so I'm gonna put them right there. There's one more that I built. It's a tank. It's a 2-pack called from Misbuy. I enjoyed building the Misbuy. I haven't seen much else from them, but the tank was really well done. I really enjoyed building it, so I'm gonna go ahead and put them there. All right, so we got a little bit of room here up at the top. I'm gonna put Panacea very close to the top up here because I really have enjoyed building Panacea. They use BlueBrixx, very good quality bricks, really good customer support, really good instructions, and they're starting to innovate more and more. I've enjoyed building Panacea. The thing about Panacea is, to me, they're a toy company making toys. It's just a really broad range of toys. They, to me, feel like FAO Schwartz, where you walk in to a really large old toy store and there's just something for everyone there. And that to me is actually not my style. I feel like it doesn't go deep enough. When I built their modulars and I've looked at those modulars, I've had some issues with like the interiors. They've put things in places where you'll never see them again. They don't always have a lighting. They've started to add lighting. They've started to do some really cool things. I'm really hopeful Panacea is on the coming up. They're going to keep improving, but some of their early mechanical sets like the claw, if you watch some reviews, you'll see that they actually break. They're just not workable. They did a cuckoo clock that didn't do that well and they had to re-release it. So good on them for re-releasing it. All right, so last is Lumibricks. I have to put Lumibricks up at the top up here. They are not just a toy company. I feel like they've taken on the spirit of what Lego used to do with their original themes, where they go really deep, they build a lore, they build story, they build backstory, and they're consistent with it. Their designs are not over the top the way that Panaceas might be. Panacea uses lots of gold. They're almost overly ornate. But Lumibricks does not do this. They have subdued designs. If you look at their town series, it's realistic architecture. I was able to interview some of the people that work at Lumibricks and found that they have actual background in some of the things that matter. So one of the designers, creative director, she has a degree in cultural anthropology, I want to say. And because of that, she's able to think about what are the tropes that you want to avoid. I've built sets before where there were things in it that I didn't know what they were, but once I looked into it, once I dug into it, I realized this is a bit of culture from this Icelandic cabin or from this tribal set. This is culture that is authentic to the subject matter, and I feel like I'm learning something. I feel like I'm discovering this world as I'm building it. And as I watch reviews of other people building Lumibricks, they say very similar things too. They use the word thoughtful. There's a garden cottage that feels extremely thoughtful in the way that it was designed and built. And they've even got ideas that are pushing beyond just what you'd expect from a toy. Like there is a set where it's an older couple and they've got a cottage that they have where their dog has passed away, and there's a little grave marker in the garden for that dog. I mean, that's just incredible, some of the things that they've decided to do there. On the innovation side, they've had lighting for the longest time. All of their lighting is very carefully packaged, and they give you all the tools you need, whether it's tweezers, screwdriver, everything you need is in there, and you build it as you're building your model, you put the wires into it and everything comes together really nicely. And they give you options on how to power it. You can power it USB, you can power it with batteries, like usually AA or AAA. And they've started to add additional innovations like sound brick for the Luna Cottage. There's a new one where they've added a misting system. I forget the name of it right now. What's beautiful about Lumibricks is they have so many themes. So you've got Western, you've got steampunk, you've got their urban street series, you've got a bunch of different ones. So, and they've now started doing some licensing. Their first license that I know of is with the Blade Runner movie for the film 2049. So they have Case Spinner that they just released. I am a little nervous about Lumibricks doing too much licensed stuff because that is actually going to erode their special sauce. It's going to erode their advantage, honestly. To me, I love them because they don't answer to anybody. They can have a purity of thought and purity of design that is consistent across all of their products. And most of the things they make are a minifigure and play scale. There are some exceptions, like they had a lowered car a while back that was a little bit bigger, and I can feel like, I know when they're like sort of experimenting, they try it and they're like, oh no, let's back off. And so they don't go too far before they course correct and abandon that idea, which I appreciate. But I do worry when they start to talk licensing, because that takes away some of their autonomy, that erodes what they're good at. All right, so Up at the top, these are ones that I would definitely recommend. If you're new to alternate bricks and you're coming from the Lego world, you don't know what to get, I'd say this layer up here, you probably will have a good time if you pick something in here. Along the middle here, you know what, they're probably going to be okay, but I would start with the top. Start with the top because you'll have a better time. I don't want people coming into alt bricks and encountering quirks and then choking on alt bricks, and they don't want to do alt bricks ever again. So I would love for you to start in this layer, especially starting with Lumibricks and Panacea. That's what I tell most people. And then of course like Kata, Nephiles, Iron Brick. I think these guys, you probably be okay. And down here, this is where you've already built a few alt bricks. You now have encountered and understood some of the quirks that happen with alt bricks. And so now go into here, and I think you'll be able to wade through those waters a little bit better. And then down here in this lower area, I would say avoid. I would say avoid because either because you're going to have a bad time or because you'll be supporting a company that isn't quite doing the right thing yet. All right, so that is my review, and we'll see. Maybe we'll be able to do this again in the future. If you found this enjoyable, let me know. Leave a comment if you agree, if you disagree. If you disagree, direct that to Signor Briccacino. It's my friend on a different channel. Go to his page and comment there. Just pick a random video and comment there if you disagree with something I've said here. But if you agree, go ahead and put it in the comment there. Let me know what you think. All right, thanks so much.